Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Monday to everyone. Monday, April the 10th, and welcome. This is going to be the weekly energy readings, both influential energies as well as shadow energies that may be influencing us this week. Okay, it is a Monday morning and it is already 30 degrees outside, and I am really warm. So, if the makeup starts running and I'm like wiping sweat off my brow, you'll know why. Okay, so for those of you who are returning, you already know how this works. And for those of you who are new here, very warm welcome. Let me just quickly jump into how this works. Each Monday, I jump on and I record a video for everyone. And included in the video is 3 separate readings. The way that you determine which reading is meant for you is that I ask you to go into a very, very light meditative state, only 2 or maybe 3 minutes worth of meditation, so you can calm your conscious mind and let it know it doesn't have to go and be quiet for very long. And then I'm going to present 3 rocks, gems, or trinkets to you. And from that light meditative state, I ask you to determine which rock, gem, or trinket you are drawn towards. I ask you to wait until I've presented all 3 before you dive on in and decide. And then I do the readings. Okay, what else? I think that's it. Oh, no, one other thing. I do recommend that if you are intuitively drawn towards one of the rocks, gems, or trinkets, but there's another one you're going, maybe I kind of want to go to that one as well, I recommend that you actually watch both of the videos. I will put the timestamps in the description down below. And the reason I suggest that is because often we end up with common themes, for one week, because they're a general reading. Quite often I end up with at least 2 of the readings with very, very common themes. So just so you know, if you're drawn towards one, but maybe 2, you might want to watch both. Okay, so get yourself into a nice, comfortable position and take a couple of deep breaths. You can either leave your eyes open or allow your eyelids to feel heavy and droop down until they eventually close. When you're ready, take a deep inhale. As you inhale, pay attention to the changes that happen in your body. Pay attention to how your chest rises. Pay attention to how your eyes feel heavy and they may close completely. And then relax with a big sigh. Just and release any tension that you may be feeling. On your next inhale, remind your conscious mind as you are taking your breath that it's okay for it to rest for a few moments. It is, after all, only a few moments. And so there's no need for you to worry about anything that you need to do other than concentrate on your inhale and your exhale and sigh. And one more time, inhale. Pay really close attention to your body on this inhale. You're most likely feeling more relaxed than you were just a moment ago. Everything feels just nice. And when you're ready, exhale with a sigh. Now, if you've had your eyes closed, please open your eyes. And I'm going to present the first rock, gem, or trinket for this week. And this week we have a piece of turquoise. Now you can see a little hole in here. It did used to be a pendant on a necklace, but the necklace broke. So anyway, I have kept this lovely piece of turquoise. in my treasure box. So if you're attracted to this piece of turquoise, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 1. All right. Second stone this week is a banded carnelian. Okay, just give you an idea of the shape. You may recognize this from last week if you were here last week watching. So if you are attracted to the banded carnelian, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 2. And last, but certainly not least, place your attention on this Orgonite. I love Orgonites. They change the energy around us, but being a traveler, I wasn't able to carry a big one. So this little one travels with me wherever I go. So if you are attracted to this Orgonite, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 3. All right, go ahead and make your decision now that you have seen all 3 pieces this week. Again, just a reminder, we have turquoise, banded carnelian, or an Orgonite. Okay. All right. For those of you who selected the turquoise this week, I will be pulling cards for you from the Angels and Ancestors deck by Kyle Gray. And as I mentioned, I am a bit of a traveler and this is getting the box is getting beat up. But the spirit is still in the cards. Okay. Can we please have 1 or maybe 2 cards for the dominant energies influencing those who selected the turquoise here on April the 10th, Monday, April the 10th, 2023. Okay. So we just have 1 card that has popped out for you. Make plans and focus. You have the Shield Maiden that has come up for you this week. Okay. This card is calling upon you to make plans and focus, but being the Shield Maiden, you are also being called upon to ensure, I just realized my camera's quite dark. I don't know why. Okay. You're also being called upon to ensure that whatever plans you're making and whatever you are focusing on, you are shielding whatever you are doing with some protection. Okay. I don't know why this is coming up. It's kind of an unusual thing to say, but I do want to say you need to be protecting whatever you are developing and working towards manifesting. Interesting. Okay. One of the things, I don't know where this stuff comes from. One of the things that Dr. Joe Dispenza, if any of you are followers of Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of the things that he says with regards to manifestation is write it down, but don't tell anyone what you've written down. Okay. And I don't know why that's coming up, but that's what's coming up for me to pass along to you as your message and your dominant energy this week. Okay. What else can I say about this particular card? I think that's about it, but I am being called upon to reach over here and see if there's another card that wants to come out. Just place this on top. Okay. Is there anything else for this week for those who selected the turquoise? Is there any other message besides make plans and focus? Yeah, I knew there was something else. So make plans and focus, as well as my message that came in from Dr. Joe, don't know why, about protecting your creation, whatever it happens to be, whatever your manifestation is. Write it down. Don't tell anyone. Now, I have not looked at this yet. You have the Page of Wands. It references work. Okay. The Page of Wands also represents new projects. Just so you can see that a little bit better. So the Page of Wands also represents new projects. This saying, make plans and focus, again, new projects. But the Page of Wands is actually quite adventurous in what he does. But he can be a little bit impulsive. The Wands card represents, or the Page of Wands represents actually taking action. So this is not just, and I think that that's why I was called upon to pull one more card for you here, is that this is not just about making your plans and focusing. This is about actually beginning to take action this week with regards to whatever it is that you are working towards manifesting. Okay. Pay attention that you're not being really, really impulsive. This page of Wands can be a little bit impulsive, but yeah, this is a message of take some action as well. Okay, let's have a look at what card is on the bottom of the deck. So your shadow energy this week from the bottom of the deck is the Stag, trust and thrive. So when we pull a shadow card, we actually read it in the reverse as if it had come out in a reading upside down. And so what this is telling me is that right now you're not trusting in the process and you're not really thriving. You're putting it out there, but it's kind of half-assed and you're not really believing that, you're not really believing that manifestation and the law of attraction is real. There's a lot of changes and shifts going on right now. There's a lot of stuff that is hitting the proverbial fan right now. And so there's this conflict of you going, okay, so I'm being told to make plans, but why am I supposed to be making plans if the whole world has gone completely crazy and gone turned upside down? Okay, you're not trusting in the process. One of the things that we begin to learn when we take that dive down the rabbit hole that is spirituality, law of attraction, that is waking up to our own power. One of the things that we learn is that there are a number of different universal laws. Law of karma, law of attraction. And the reality is that even if the proverbial you-know-what is hitting the proverbial fan, the law of attraction can't be circumvented. Neither can the law of karma. If you resonate, right? Everything is energy. If you are resonating at the right frequency, you are going to bring to you that which you desire. Okay. So continue to make your plans. Begin to put your plans into action, because remember, law of attraction isn't just sitting around in the lotus position going, oh, please come to me. Oh, no, that's not law of attraction. Okay. So begin to start to take steps. And even though this is your shadow this week, trust in the process. Okay. Thank you so much for being here this week. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, you may be interested in watching the video for either deck number 2 or deck number 3. You can check it out in the timestamps below. And hopefully we'll see you again next week. Okay, let's get started with deck number 2. Those of you who selected the banded Carnelian, welcome. I'm going to be pulling cards for you today from the Osho Zen Tarot. Banded Carnelian, those people who picked it, their dominant energy for the week of April the 10th. What is the dominant energy influencing? Ooh, apparently you have a lot of energies influencing you. We've got 3 cards out, 2 of which are on the floor. Oh, and now we have a 4th. 2 more jumpers, but they went back in the deck. So that was 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Okay, let's turn these over and see what your dominant energies are this week. Okay. Okay, so the very first card that you have is a reversed card, and I will read it in the reversed. This is the card of completion. It is the 21st card in the major arcana, which is completion. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with tarot, very quickly, we start with the Fool, which is the representative of something new, starting something new, somebody who perhaps doesn't have all the knowledge they need for the quest that they are setting out upon. And the higher the numbers go, as we work our way through the tarot, the more experienced the individual becomes and the better they become at their craft until they actually reach completion. But for those of you that selected the banded Carnelian this week, you have completion in reverse, which means that you are very close to completing one of your cycles, but there are things that are holding you back. Okay. Let's have a look at what's holding you back. One of the things that's holding you back is a deep understanding about the ties that bind. Okay. So I'm going to go into a little bit more about this card. You'll see the bird at the very front of the card, and hopefully we don't have too much of a reflection on it there. So you'll see the bird at the very front of the card, and the bird has lived its whole life in a cage, and it hasn't been able to get out of the cage. And then one day, someone opens the cage door, but the bird still doesn't fly out, because it still believes that it's a prisoner. It doesn't recognize that it is now free, and it can go off and it can have adventures with all of its mates up here. But it doesn't understand that. Okay. Part of the reason that your completion is reversed, because there's something at this point along the way, the lesson that you are supposed to be learning right now, you're missing a piece of the pie. You're missing a piece of the puzzle. Notice the puzzle pieces here? You're missing a piece of that puzzle. And so you are not you're not able to move forward and complete it. So why is that happening? Well, you have the 2 of Swords, 2 of Clouds, as represented here by the silver. And this card is a card of schizophrenia. Now, it's not referring to the disease and the formal medical diagnosis of schizophrenia. What this card is referring to is a duality wherein the character up at the top is holding on by his fingertips over here and holding on by his toenails over here. And damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he lets go with his toes, he's still going to be dangling over here by his fingernails. If he lets go with his fingers, he's still going to be over here dangling by his toes, which is a little bit crazy making, right? And so what do you have to do? You have to trust. In order to be able to thrive, in order to be able to achieve this completion, you have to trust, and you have to let go with both your hands and your feet at the same time, and trust. Trust that you'll be looked after. Trust that your manifestations are coming to fruition. Okay. What is the final card of energies that are influencing you, or themes that are influencing you this week? that are preventing you from completion, clinging to the past. Kind of stands to reason, right? When we cling to the past. Now, this is dealing with emotions. You're holding on to something emotional. You're holding on to this belief that you cannot escape, that you are somehow trapped. Here, you are dealing with basically just a general overall big theme of your life. Okay, you're not believing, you're not trusting, you don't trust in yourself right now. And the final card is the 5 of Cups. And with this card, you're clinging to the past. And again, you're clinging to something emotional, okay, as represented by the blue here, which represents cups, water, and emotions. Okay, so these are the energies that are influencing you. And I really, really trust and believe that when you are able to let go of the past with the full understanding that when that cage door opens, you are a free human being and you can let go with both your fingers and your toes at the same time. And you can trust. You are going to get to the place of completing your current life cycle. Now, don't get me wrong. When I'm talking about completing current life cycle, I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. Okay. Throughout our lives, we're born and we begin working on root chakra issues. And as we reach the ripe old age of 5 or 6, maybe even into 7, depending on the maturity level, you move into working on things that pertain to the sacral chakra. And then once you reach adolescence, you start working on things that pertain to your solar plexus and on up. Okay. When you reach crown chakra issues, you have completed a cycle of life. Okay. Now, most people complete their first cycle right around the age of 32, 34 years old. And then what happens? They actually go back to dealing with root chakra issues. But they're dealing with root chakra issues with the knowledge that they already have from their first turnaround. Okay. So our initial root chakra lessons that we need to learn is that we're going to be taken care of, that the earth is solid when we step on it. We're not going to, fall into a deep hole, something like that. That those who are around us will help to take care of us. Okay. So in our mid-30s, as we complete a cycle, and the ages are approximate, it depends on which spiritual teacher you talk to. When you reach approximately your mid-30s, you begin the cycle again, only with a maturity. But here's the thing. If you fail to learn the lessons of the heart, say, in your adolescence, when that swings back around again, you will repeat the lessons of the past. Either that, or you won't actually escape the lessons of the heart and you won't move into the lessons of the higher chakras. One of those two things will happen. And that is the completion that I'm talking about, is the completion of the lessons of each of your chakras. If you want to learn more, reach out. I would love to do a teaching on this if you're interested, but moving on. Okay, so this is what is holding you back right now from achieving this completion. We're going to have a look at the bottom of the deck. What is holding you back? Well, we've actually already looked at a bunch of things that are holding you back right now. So what is the icing on the cake? The icing on the cake to be holding you back right now is politics. And you'll notice by the character on this particular card that he has a mask. And he's actually a snake. Behind this happy, smiling mask, he's actually a snake and not a particularly nice person. What this is telling me is that part of the reason that you may not have completed your completion is because there's a lack of trust right now. Like I said, trust in the universe, trust in the process. Okay. Regardless of where the lack of trust came from. If you can't bring yourself to trust again, you will continue to cling to the past and live in a place of politics, right? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So with that, this week, the week of April the 10th, I strongly, strongly encourage you to dig really, really deep this week with regards to your healing, with regards to your meditative practice, and with regards to your practice of gratitude. And if you're into the practice of forgiveness, by all means, it needs to be integrated, especially with these two cards coming up. You need to integrate a practice of forgiveness. Practice of forgiveness does not mean that you're saying whatever was done to you was okay. What it is saying is that you're no longer going to carry around the burden. You're no longer going to carry around the emotions. Okay. I think for a lot of you, if you do this deep dive and this deep work, by Sunday, or at the very least next Monday, you're going to be in a place where you're going to feel more like you're achieving this completion and like you're ready to move on into the next, whatever that happens to be. Okay. Moving along, let's have a look at the cards. For those of you who selected the Orgonite this week, I'll be pulling cards for you from the, whoops, we got a reflection there from the Fairy Tarot. So let's get started. Dominant energies influencing those who selected the Orgonite this week. Cards are dancing. Okay. Dominant energy. Dominant energy. 2, 3. Okay. Let's read them in the order in which they came out. I do have one, maybe even two reversed cards here. Okay. 6 of Autumn. 6 of Autumn is also known as the 6 of Pentacles for those of you that selected the Orgonite this week. This is a card of karma, and it came out reversed. What does that tell me? Tells me you guys need to be paying attention to your money this week, and you also need to be paying attention to karma. Make sure that you are not spending more than you have coming in, and make sure that you're acting with karma in mind. You have another card that has come out here, and it's come out. Let me see. Okay. You have the Queen of Spring, which is also known as the Queen of Wands, coming out here. This is a card of saying that people want to help you. But you have to want to help yourself first. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this phrase. It doesn't resonate with me. The phrase resonates that we're helped when we help ourselves, but I know that that's not the actual phrase, but the Lord helps those who help themselves. God help those who help themselves. Insert deity here. Insert the universe helps those who help themselves. Whatever resonates with you, This queen wants you to know wonderful people will help you, but you have to help yourself. How can you help yourself? You have to believe in yourself. Okay. The final card that you have here this week, that's not a shadow card, is the Nine of Summer, also known as the Nine of Cups. This is the wish fulfilled card. Generally, it can indicate relationships, the manifestation of something better in your existing relationship, or the manifestation of a new relationship if you are single. How are we going to tie these three cards together? Well, as I already mentioned, this is the card of karma. What you put out comes back to you. This is the queen who wants to help you and is telling you there are other people out there who want to help you, but you have to help yourself. You have to believe in yourself. Karma. When you believe in yourself and you act with karma in mind, keeping a balanced budget, of course, because that's the second message of this card. Wish fulfilled. I mean, there's no other way to say the Nine of Cups or Nine of Summer. It's the wish fulfilled card. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck and see what is hiding under there. Ooh, the Five of Autumn, also known as the Five of Pentacles. What does the Five of Pentacles want you to know? You can reach out to others for help. But given that it is on the bottom of the deck as a shadow, it's an indication that you are hesitant to do so. Despite the fact that you've got the Queen of Wands here encouraging you to ask for help, she is letting you know there are people out there that want to help you. You're being hesitant to do so with this card coming up in your shadow. This card also indicates, just FYI, really bad time to be making career choice changes, particularly if it might be a rash decision. Just a heads up, you might want to be aware of that. This card can also indicate financial imbalance. The Six of Autumn or Pentacles coming up in reverse may indicate your budget is not balanced. Okay, so watch for that this week. As you go about your week, make sure that you're keeping your budget in balance. Make sure that you are not overspending. Go ahead and reach out and ask people for help. There's people out there that want to help you. But keep in mind as well, what goes around comes around. And so even though you may not end up being in a position right here, right now, to be able to turn around and help the people that are helping you right now, eventually what goes around comes around, and you'll be in a position or in that place where you're going to reach out and help someone else, right? Karma is about give and take, but it doesn't always have to be 100% exchanged with the exact same person that helped you. Do you see what I'm saying? You know, somebody could help you today and then they go off on their merry little way. And then 4 or 5 days later, you come upon somebody that needs help and you go, oh yeah, I'm going to help this person for no other reason other than out of the goodness of my heart. I just feel drawn to help. And that person may not turn around and help you in that moment, but then with the kindness of your heart, they may go and help someone else. Okay. Karma. People want to help. Wishes do come true. Ask for help, even though it might be difficult, and balance your budget. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next week.